I personally don't think the fight's gonna ever happen.
Yeah.
And that's just my personal opinion. I'm not hating. It's just my personal. I don't think the fight's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, I think Tank will retire for that.
You know, he goes forward a little more. I think he has more power. I'm gonna pick Tank
to beat Shakur
by brutal knockout. Yeah.
I'll take Tank, Lamont, lightweight. I like Andy Cruz.
That's gonna be two great competitors against one another, and it's gonna be one hell of a fight. You know, just like me and Tank was a good fight. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. That's all I'm gonna say.
Shakur Stevenson is hot right now. You know, they agreed after the fight that they would probably be next. Lamont Roach said it right after the fight with Tank. Yeah, I'll fight Shakur next if there's no rematch.
In a recent interview, former world champion and Hall of Famer Timothy Bradley gave a strong opinion that Davis is mentally checked out and basically done with boxing.
But I'll just tell you this: Tank is done. Tank is hung him up, shoes off. Get the bag, put a plaque up, he done.
Bradley didn't hold back in his interview with Fight Hub TV. He straight up said that Tank Davis is done. He believes Davis has mentally moved on from boxing and is no longer fully committed to the sport. According to Bradley, Davis has already hung the gloves up, and despite still being in the conversation for big fights, he's only chasing massive paydays at this point, not legacy-defining bouts. Bradley said Davis is now more interested in fights that bring in huge money, like a possible matchup against Jake Paul or even Manny Pacquiao, rather than testing himself against someone as technically gifted as Stevenson.
But I'll just tell you this: Tank is done. Tank is hung him up, shoes off. Get the bag, put a plaque up, he done. Tank is done.
When you say done, you mean like not fighting anymore?
Tank is checked out mentally. Tank is gone mentally. Tank looking for the big bag of Jake Paul, Pacquiao, something similar, and he's looking to, hey, I'll see you later. Tank is standing. He's not gonna fight Shakur Stevenson at all. At all.
The comments came as Gervonta Davis, now 30 years old and still undefeated, continues to deal with legal issues outside the ring. A recent arrest has added more doubt around his future in the sport, and Bradley believes all of these things combined are signs that Davis is on his way out. He went as far as saying that Davis will do whatever it takes to avoid facing Shakur Stevenson, no matter how much money is on the table or who tries to make the fight happen. Even with big offers possibly being pushed by Turki Al-Sheikh or others, Bradley thinks Davis has no interest in taking the risk against a fighter like Stevenson.
I don't care how much money Turkey offered, give him 4 Lamborghinis, whatever. Tank ain't taking that fight. And I know all y'all Tank fans gonna come at y'all, you don't know, you won't see. I'm telling you. And if he get in that ring and he ain't up here, if he ain't all the way focused, bro, he gonna get beat by Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, if they gonna do it. He gonna get beat by Manny Pacquiao if he ain't all the way focused in the ring, bro. Seriously.
Talks have recently surfaced about Davis possibly fighting Jake Paul later this year. Paul himself said discussions had already taken place before his fight with Andre August, and fans are now wondering if Davis might be heading in a more entertainment-driven direction rather than competitive boxing. While Paul is a big name and would certainly draw attention, a fight between the two wouldn't be competitive from a pure boxing standpoint, given the size difference and lack of real boxing experience on Paul's end.
Didn't say you got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Still, the idea of Davis choosing that kind of matchup over a true boxing test like Stevenson speaks volumes. Bradley believes Davis is no longer the same hungry fighter he once was. He described Davis as someone who has 1 foot in and 1 foot out of boxing, a dangerous mindset in a sport where full focus is essential. Bradley explained that in his view, Davis is now mostly thinking about a final big payday before walking off into the sunset.
So that's my take on Tank, man. I think he's done. It's the issues outside the ring. It's the fact that he wants to change and he wants to, he has a lot on his mind that he wants to do. And he's kind of sick of the sport of boxing. So
piggybacking what he just said also, do you think Lamont Roach should just say, forget about that and just go to try to fight Shakur?
If I'm Lamont Roach, bro, I'm keeping my momentum, bro. Forget about all of that. I'm at peace. You ain't ready, son. It's all good. You handle your business. You do what you do. But hey, I need that money. I need that gravy. I need that opportunity. You know. And I should have beat. Honest to God, truth. I should have been the champion right now. However, I'll let you have that. That's fine, but I'm moving on to something bigger and better.
When talking about a potential Stevenson versus Davis fight, Bradley didn't say it would be easy for Stevenson, but he was clear on his pick. If Davis isn't fully locked in, he believes Stevenson wins every time. According to Bradley, Stevenson's sharp defense and improved offense give him the upper hand in the matchup, especially since Davis is known for being more selective with his punches and throws fewer overall than most other lightweights at the top.
If Gervonta is all the way locked in, I personally think that Gervonta Davis is 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You can't be a 1 foot in and 1 foot out type of fighter. I think Gervonta Davis is looking for a big payday, and then he's going to sell off. So if that Gervonta Davis getting the ring with Shakur, I got Shakur all day, 7 days a week. But if we get in all the way locked in, Tank Davis. It's a little bit more of a difficult fight. If you really think about the style matchup between these two, you got one of the best defensive fighters, if not the best defensive fighter in the game. You got one of the most accurate fighters, power punches in the game as well. But you have one that throws less punches.
But Bradley also admitted that if Davis shows up completely focused and at his best, it's a much tougher fight for Stevenson. Tank's power and accuracy could make a big difference if he lands cleanly. Bradley pointed out that Stevenson has never really been hit with something big enough to truly test his chin, so there's still a mystery there. He did add that the fight could turn out to be a bit boring, given both fighters' cautious styles, one being highly defensive and the other a low-volume power puncher, but it would still be a meaningful bout for the sport.
He probably had many of these top guys at 135 pounds, he throws the least amount of punches. You got a guy like Shakur who showed you that he has offense. I think stylistically would favor Shakur, based upon his defense and his offense now. Yes. But again, all the way locked in, all it takes is one. Take, and if he lands that one, man, it could, I don't know, could be bad for Shakur, it could be not. Maybe Shakur takes it. You know what I mean? We really haven't seen Shakur get hit with something that, that really got his attention, or changed his world. So, but yeah, I still think it's a hell of a fight.
Even with all the what ifs, Bradley stayed firm in his opinion that the fight won't happen. He said Davis will probably retire before ever agreeing to face Stevenson. He didn't say this to throw shade or hate on Davis, but rather he believes it's just the truth of where Tank's mind is at these days.
I personally don't think the fight's gonna ever happen. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm not hating. It's just my personal. I don't think the fight's gonna happen. I think Tank will retire for that.
Interestingly, Oscar De La Hoya had a very different take on how the Stevenson versus Davis fight would go. Speaking on another show, De La Hoya gave the edge to Davis and even predicted a knockout. He said that while Stevenson tends to fight on the back foot and picks his shots carefully, Davis takes more risks and has the kind of power that could stop a guy like Stevenson if he gets close enough. In De La Hoya's opinion, Tank has what it takes to end the fight with one brutal shot, and that makes him the favorite in his eyes.
Man, that's a good one. I think they're different styles, obviously. I think Shakur is more, fights on his back foot, fights tall, throws 1-2 punches. I think Tank Davis takes more risk, He goes forward a little more. I think he has more power. I'm gonna pick Tank
to beat Shakur
by brutal knockout, yeah.
As for Shakur Stevenson himself, he's not waiting around for Davis to make up his mind. Stevenson has been busy and successful, recently picking up a TKO win over Josh Padley and a dominant decision win over William Zepeda. He's made it clear that he still wants to face Davis, but with the uncertainty surrounding Tank's future, Stevenson is starting to look in other directions.
I don't. For now, it's still Tank at the top.
Yeah, for sure. That's the
What's
biggest
going on with
fight.
the Roach fight?
I have no clue. That's kind of like questions you got to ask him. And when it comes down to jail and any of them type of things, I don't wish that upon nobody. So I hope everything is good with him. But I just speak specifically on the business of the sport.
Sure.
So I would love to fight him as a fighter, for sure.
One name that's popped up is Teofimo Lopez. After hearing Lopez might be interested in a fight, Stevenson posted on social media that he was all for it and asked Lopez what the holdup was. He even reposted a comment about the possible matchup and added that he just wants to be great and hopes Lopez feels the same. Stevenson has been vocal about chasing the toughest fights out there, and Lopez now seems like a strong option if Davis doesn't step up. In a recent interview, Stevenson also shared his list of ideal opponents who he believes could help cement his legacy at lightweight. Without much hesitation, he named Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. as his first 2 picks. When it came to the third opponent, he paused for a second but eventually landed on Andy Cruz, explaining that he wants the most competitive fights possible and sees those 3 as the best challenges available.
I take Tank, Lamont, lightweight. I like Andy Cruz. I'm a competitor. So I like the best fights and the most competitive fights. So I think them guys is more so the 3 most competitive guys.
I think Tank is the money fight. I think that's the, not only will that help cement your legacy at the lightweight division, I think that's the fight, Shakur, that's going to pay you the most money.
For sure. He's the guy that everybody been talking about for a long time. So
he has
I can't wait.
Knockout power. It's going to be his power versus your skill.
Oh, you know what's crazy about that? This is no cap. You know, a lot of guys, they like, oh, he did that against Zepeda because Zepeda is not a big puncher.
Stevenson also gave a lot of respect to Roach, saying that people underrate him and don't realize how good he really is. He even mentioned that Roach helped him get ready for a past fight, serving as his main sparring partner for his bout with Oscar Valdez. Despite their friendly relationship, Stevenson said he'd love to fight Roach and test himself against him in a professional setting.
I would love that fight too. I think that's the one of the fights to make. I think that Lamont is very underrated.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's talking it out about his skill set because a lot of people don't realize how good he really is. And I appreciate Lamont too. He's one of the guys who came and helped me in one of my biggest fights in my career. When I fought Oscar Valdez, I made Lamont Roach my main sparring partner, and he kind of got me ready for that fight. So, I'm real cool with him. I would love to fight him though. A
lot of people think that Lamont actually beat Tank in that fight. What do you think?
I do. I think Lamont won. I think Lamont won 7-5, 8-4, even without the
knockdown.
Yeah, without the knockdown.
Meanwhile, Roach Jr., who is supposed to face Davis on August 16th, is also thinking about Stevenson as a possible opponent if the Davis fight ends up getting canceled, something that feels more and more likely with each passing day. Roach said he'd be open to taking on Stevenson instead. He knows it would be a high-level, high-profile fight, and while he respects Stevenson's skills, he's not ruling out the matchup.
That's going to be 2 great competitors against one another, and it's going to be one hell of a fight. Just like me and Tank was a good fight. It's going to be a hell of a fight. That's all I'm going to say.
This situation also put some pressure on Premier Boxing Champions PBC, the promotion behind the upcoming fight. Losing Davis would be a blow to them since he's one of their biggest stars. That's why the idea of heading to a Stevenson versus Roach fight is gaining momentum. It could save the event and still deliver a meaningful contest between 2 top-level fighters.
Gervonta Tank Davis, his fight is been pushed out against Lamont Roach. Is possibly canceled due to what's going on with Gervonta Davis outside the ring and all that stuff. My take is that the fight has been rescheduled from when? I mean, from my understanding, Gervonta didn't even sign the contract for it. So the fight was never really confirmed in the first place. Should Lamont Roach move on? Yeah, because you don't want to be away from boxing too long, especially with your name just getting hot. I would try to utilize it and find, possible, opponents now. Shakur Stevenson is hot right now. They agreed after the fight that they would probably be next. Lamont Roach said it right after the fight with Tank. Yeah, I'll fight Shakur next if there's no rematch.
At the end of the day, fans still want to see Stevenson and Davis settle things in the ring, but for now, it seems that dream fight is slipping away. With Bradley declaring that Davis is already gone from the sport, Stevenson eyeing new opponents, and names like Jake Paul entering the picture, it's hard to tell if Tank Davis will ever ever come back for real competition, or if he's already said goodbye without officially saying the words. What do you think? Is Tank Davis truly done with boxing, or is he just holding out for the right moment and the biggest bag? Will we ever see him share the ring with Shakur Stevenson, or is that chapter closed before it even began? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Ring Rivalry for all the latest boxing drama, fight breakdowns, and legendary matchups. And make sure to ring that bell so you never miss a round.